Peyton Scott, professional media major, and I'm a sophomore. Yeah, so at the beginning of COVID and all that, we were just about to get into spring ball. And so when they told us that we weren't coming back after spring break, the coaches really got together and we got together on the Microsoft Teams app, and they woke us up every morning at like 7 o'clock, and we went through team meeting, and they sent us a workout schedule and a workout that we could do without weights, just easy things that we could do around the house, push-ups and things like that to still get our workouts in. But we were just meeting on Teams, Microsoft Teams, and really going through the same daily grind till they opened up campus again. We have this app called ARMS, and we communicate through that. So, we're still getting sent like all our, daily, daily goals and things like that. And we had special teams meetings through Teams and things like that. I mean, the grind really didn't even change. I mean, it was just moved into an easier, circumstance for this. Well, they opened up the campus at the end of May, and we started getting back into it in June and July. But with COVID and everything, they were shutting down for 2 weeks at a time if they had a positive, test and everything. So, I mean, it really affected just how people wanted to come and show up for summer workouts, not really being, fully committed to it because not knowing if we were going to have a season or not. That's really the biggest impact of summer workouts. I tried to hit, 300 push-ups a day and 300 sit-ups. I mean, those are easy to do, don't have to go outside. I'm not a big fan of cardio. I'm a running back. It's funny, I don't like running, but I'm a big push-up guy. Doing push-ups and sit-ups is pretty much all you need to maintain strength, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Well, barring schedule, I mean, the schedule is so tough as a student athlete, and how we train and the hours that we put in from, noon to 5 o'clock, that's my practice hours. And opting out, I don't have to be in the facility. I'm not, actually not legally allowed to be in the facility. And, I took on Directed for You Central News, and that's an opportunity that, I wouldn't get during the year. But since, opting out is an option, and I'm not barred to anything. So doing directing is just really giving me a new, thing to focus on and be competitive over.
Says at night, a new place to meet a roar of thunder and sounds fill the air in the land of wonder. Enjoy its expression meets boundless laughter.
I opted out before they officially canceled the season. Once the NCAA gave us the option to opt out, I have multiple underlying conditions, so I chose to opt out for safety measures. Adversity. It's thing they talk about in football, basketball, all sports, and everything is just fighting through adversity. I mean, I think my main goal is to play football, but if it's not safe enough for me to play, I don't want to put my whole life at jeopardy just to play a single season. I think what the NCAA did with allowing kids to opt out and maintain their scholarships was amazing, especially for somebody like me. It's not the end of the world, and there's still another year to play, and I get another year of eligibility. So, I mean, I think I'm okay with everything. Man, I mean, this has been one of the hardest falls, since I can remember. I mean, you can just smell it in the air when you walk outside that it's football season. I mean, it's constant reminders, and you see Division I guys playing now, and it just makes you miss it even more. But that feeling when you walk onto that field, whether it's next spring or this fall, this coming up fall, I mean, there's not not going to be anything like it, because not going to take anything for granted again. It's kind of like your body gets into a cycle, and in the summer you get into fall camp, and going through the beginning of August without a fall camp was so different. I've been going through a fall camp since I was 14 years old in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. And for not to have a fall camp, and then I was talking to some of my teammates, and the weather started getting a little cooler, and you're like, wow, this is like week 6 weather, week 5 weather. We're getting into the brunt of our schedule. I mean, it's just like us athletes are, just conditioned to do these things. And once you get put out of that rhythm, it's just, I feel like I'm naked. I don't know what to do. So
Woo! Awesome. GG. GG, everybody. Awesome.
So we're a fall sport, so this is normally when we would be competing right now. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversy and decisions as far as if we should be playing or not because of the virus and everything. They did decide to postpone the season, or what they believe is going to be left of it for the spring. So we found out recently that we're supposed to have some type of competition in the spring. We did have the NCAA did cancel all of our national championships, which is unfortunate, but we're at least going to be able to have some type of competition in the spring, so that kind of sucks. But we're a very driven team, and for sure a very close one, so just the support that we're getting just from each other and our coaches and stuff has been able to really help us kind of persevere through some of the causes that we've had to go through with the virus and such. So normally like I said, we play in the fall, so that's more of our competitive, but we use the spring almost just as competitive. That's where we're getting better and preparing for basically the next season. So we play harder teams like OSU and teams that we normally are not in our conference or we don't normally play in order to get better for the next season. I remember we found out at our practice, we had a Friday practice, and all the girls, we were kind of joking around. We were like, oh, spring break, they had extended it. So due to the COVID, they extended spring break, and that was all we knew. We didn't know that they were going to cancel school. They had just extended it at the time. So we were like, oh, thanks COVID for an extra week, as a joke, and then we kind of never came back. So then it wasn't really, we didn't really find it comical then because, of course, we weren't able to play or anything. And so, I had to move out of my apartment because of COVID and everything. There was no point to continue to pay and stuff there if, we didn't have soccer, we didn't have school, so everything was basically online. So I came back in April and moved all my stuff out, and then until then, I didn't come back till August. Being sick through the process, I was lucky, I guess, kind of, because I got it kind of in the summer when, we're not having to deal with school and everything else like that and sports and everything. So I kind of got it earlier on, which was, I guess, curse and a blessing. So that was really difficult just in the middle because obviously, we play as soon as we come back into the fall. So it is crucial in the summer to make sure you are doing stuff to prepare yourself, because when we get in there, we only have a couple weeks to prepare and then it's time to play. That was the worst part, is not being able to do anything with each other. So we all work out together, and especially when you're on a team, you feed off that energy that each person is kind of giving you in any kind of workout. So the fact that we were kind of doing it by ourselves or more isolated was kind of difficult to get that same almost pump of energy. So that was a little bit more difficult. But being able to come back was the best. The biggest thing that we were worried about, because obviously we didn't know at first kind of what the fall was going to hold, because they went back and forth for a long time. The MIAA, the NCAA, they kind of were battling it out for a little bit, and so we just kind of had to continue to practice and stand by and hope that we were going to get something out of it. So we finally, like I said, it's been back and forth so much, but we are going to be able to play some type of game in the spring, so it's almost just flip-flopped, where anything we'd be doing in the spring right now, that's what we're doing to prepare for, previously in the spring for the fall this year, is what we're preparing for now for the spring. So hopefully we plan to play something. We could potentially be playing also this fall. We're not sure exactly what the guidelines are and stuff. There's a lot of eligibility and protocols and stuff like that we have to follow. So just trying to make sure that we can do as much as we can in those guidelines is basically the goal, is what we've been trying to do. We check in with the SPC. They check our temperatures and stuff every single day. Anytime we use any type of facility, we have antibacterial we wipe everything down with. So we're taking a lot of precautions to hopefully prevent us from getting it, or any other team or anybody else on campus. But it's everywhere. You can only do so much, for sure. The COVID process and how long it takes you to heal and stuff from that, to where you're 100%, it takes a while. So that part was really difficult. That was a big setback. However, that was good. And then we had a couple of scares, and then we actually had a couple positive cases, which had to cause us to quarantine, which kind of sucks because we're doing the whole start and stop thing. Like, well, we'll start, and then wait, we got to quarantine, and then we start again. We'll wait, we got to quarantine again. So that part's really frustrating. We've been trying our best to like minimize it and just kind of keep us close together and stuff like that to kind of prevent anything else. But you know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. You go to the store, you got to get a cup of coffee, you know, you're sitting next to someone that they don't know they have it, and then you have it, you know, it's everywhere at this point. So we just try to do the best we can. I was exhausted. I'm not going to lie. Mine kind of started a little bit different. Everyone, I think, depending on like who has it and kind of what your symptoms are, have almost some symptoms and maybe not have other symptoms. So I got most of the basic ones like headache, some congestion, you know, the sore throat. The exhaustion though was anything like I've seen. I mean, I literally slept for like 72 hours straight because I was so tired. I couldn't even like go to the bathroom. I was just exhausted. And so when I first started feeling bad, we were like kind of deciding like, okay, should we go? Or like, because, you know, you don't want to go expose yourself if you're not exposed, if it's just a cold or something, you know. So we were kind of going back and forth, and we decided to go get tested. And I knew it was bad when the doctor came out in like full SWAT gear, like completely just like I was this science project. I was like, okay. She came out and was like, I'm sorry, like this is going to be painful, and just started swabbing my nose and everything. And she's like, well, hopefully we'll know soon. And then when they tested me for flu and strep as well. And when those came back negative, I was like, crap, please don't be me. Please don't be me. And then they called. I remember I was like dead asleep, and my mom came in my room. I guess they had tried to call me, and she's my emergency contact. So they called her, and they were like, well, we need to speak to her. So my mom was just like holding the phone, and I was like, hi. They're like, I'm so sorry to wake you, but like, you've been tested positive for COVID. And I just remember my mom's face. She looked like she like saw a ghost, and she was like, most people are going to get it, but it's the, like, and most of us, you know, especially us that are younger and stuff like that, that are going to be able to recover. It's important for us to make sure that we're watching out for the newborn babies, for the people with autoimmune disease, because those are the people that can't, or are going to be very difficult for them to be able to fight it off as well as we are. And on top of that, like, by us being irresponsible and doing stuff like not wearing our mask, well, it doesn't work anyway. Okay, well, you could be potentially saving somebody. Like, how would you feel knowing that, you know, maybe one of your family members is sick and then someone did that to them, you know? So to me, it's kind of like, even if you don't believe it works, kind of go with it. Make sure you wash your hands. Like, you know, make sure you're just being cautious, because it's not necessarily just about you. It's about the other people around you that you want to protect. And there's some people that they're like, well, don't go out, or, you know, don't go to places. But some places it's necessity. Like, you can't tell somebody not to go to the store, you know, and like those people, or you can't tell some people to go to work. That's their only source of income. So there's some people, even though they don't want to, they have to. But just almost being selfless and kind of like taking yourself out of the equation, being like, okay, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get sick, and I definitely don't want to get somebody else sick. So especially someone who's not going to be as fortunate enough as you are.
Well, we're having to do some things different, but everybody is. And one thing we talked about last night, I'm going to talk about it for this purpose, for this interview, but as a team, we're not going to dwell on what we can't do or what we're not doing that would be the things that you would work on normally that you could do more of because of contact tracing and going live as much as normal. But because to me, the more you talk about excuses and you move into that mindset of excuses, there's no way you can give yourself a chance to be successful. So we gotta push through no matter what the circumstance each day that you wake up to, because it's going to be different, and how are you going to respond to that circumstance, because no matter when COVID's over, it's still going to be that way in your life, because there's going to be something that's going to come in your life that you weren't anticipating, and how you deal with it is going to be how successful you are for a lifetime. Well, we have a task force in the athletic department. We have a task force at the university, and we're adhering to what they're asking us to do. Our trainers are doing a fantastic job keeping everybody as safe as we possibly can. And but there are multiple things we're doing in the locker room areas to keep everybody apart, and sometimes even in different rooming situations with dorm rooms and separating roommates, so they have more opportunity to be by themselves when they normally wouldn't be, just trying to protect as best we can. I mean, you can't protect everything, but we're going to try to do everything in our power to give them an opportunity to be on the floor and be successful. Well, we've had several guys that have ended up with them. Fortunate for us, they've all been asymptomatic, and we're playing through that just like everybody in the world and the country is trying to figure out how your family operates when you have those things happen in your life. But we are really trying as best we can as a group, a family, a team, to focus on what's ahead, not what we're not being able to do because of the pandemic. Well, I don't know where we go with that. I mean, our mantra for this year, our saying is today matters. So if we get wrapped up in trying to figure out if next week's going to happen or 3 weeks from now, I know I have today. My heart's beating. I get so many of those today. I'm going to give everything I have to that. And our guys have been pretty good to that. I think that's what you can control. There's so many things we can't control. And you can wake up and be excited that you're alive and you have an opportunity to do something fantastic today with what you've been blessed with. Yeah, they're going to allow everybody have the opportunity to potentially come back. They're not going to lose a year with the guys that are here right now. And so we only have 2 seniors anyway, so we have a young team. We have 9 freshmen and sophomores, and they picked us 6 preseason this year. Last year we were picked last. We ended up 8th, and I think the recruits that we have that are here that we recruited last year, we're so deep. We have 16 guys that can play and play minutes, and I'm thrilled about seeing that. I'm not sure how many we'll get to recruit. We're recruiting some really good players. We can't talk about who they are by NCAA rules, but we're looking to add a few more guys to this roster, and I love our athleticism and our length and our quickness, and more importantly, I love how they're enjoying each other in everything as far as the success of a team or individual success.